Hello and welcome to Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Today we're going to learn about a really cool creature called an Arctic fox. We're going to discuss some art terms, including camouflage and contrast, and we're going to work with a new art material called chalk. Let's get started. Contrast is an art concept defined as the state of being strikingly different than something else. If you take a look at these three images, you'll see contrast. In the first image of the apples, they all have the same shape and relative size, but the contrast lies within the coloring. Take a look at me as a kitty cat. Do you see the contrast between my two colors of white and black? In art, things can be high contrast, meaning very, very different, or low contrast, meaning similar. Taking a peek at these creatures, what do you notice about the contrast within their images? Do you see how the coloring of their coats try to match the coloring of their habitat or surrounding? This is a very special creature power called camouflage. This low contrast between the animals and their environment help them survive in different ways. If they are trying to hide from a predator, they can blend into their surrounding. Or if they're trying to sneak up on the prey, they can also blend in with the surrounding. Let's look at the word camouflage in definition in relation to art. The concealment by means of disguise is what camouflage is defined as. You see it in lots of different areas in nature. Some of our families are hunters. You'll notice that people wear camouflage when trying to hide from their prey. The first step in our project today is the same as always. We're going to put our name, date, and class on the back of our project. Here I'm writing Mrs. Beaufeaux 1-18-21, and this is a first grade project, so you'll either write 1A, 1B, or 1C. Let's flip our paper over and get started. With your white chalk, you're going to draw a horizon line. Let's remember that a horizon line is a line that separates the earth from the sky. Adding in some nature elements, I'm adding some triangles. I hope they look like mountains. I'm going to turn my chalk sideways and do a rubbing to fill in these spaces so it looks like it's quite snowy. This next step can be a lot of fun. With your tissue, you're going to rub and smudge and blend this rubbed chalk together to create a nice soft appearance. I think Arctic foxes are just so neat. They live far in the north where they get the Arctic in their name from. They can survive in extreme temperatures, recorded even up to -94 degrees Fahrenheit. That's below zero. They're related to other foxes, wolves, and dogs. They're very solitary animals and they do not hibernate. Their fur changes color with the seasons, which is where we are talking about camouflage. Pretty neat stuff, huh? Before we draw the main subject of our image, we're going to use our whiteboards to practice. We're going to use basic shapes to create our very own Arctic fox. First shape we're going to start out with is this half circle. Using the triangle, we're going to rotate it kind of to the side, and we're going to erase that little bit where it overlapped. Again, with half circles, let's add some ears to our fox. Here's that cool shape for our tail. And using 4 long rectangles, we're going to create legs. Now, this is not a photorealistic image, but I want you to practice it a couple times before we move back to our paper. Here we are with our black paper, and you can see I'm drawing kind of lightly because if I make any mistakes, I want to be able to erase it. Now, what's cool about this is that instead of drawing in the eyes and the nose when we're using our chalk, we're going to draw in everything but the eyes and the nose. The last part of this step is going to be smoothing it in with our fingertip. Wow, that looks so cool, guys. Step 4, we're going to use some of our blue soft pastels to create some visual interest overlining the background area of our images. Now I'm using some lavender to create some more visual interest in my background, adding some stars and finally a moon because I just love the night sky. Now, can you see the high contrast in this image between the white of the Arctic fox in the background? Finally, using our black charcoal. Now, charcoal gets pretty messy, so we're going to be very careful with this. I'm outlining all of the portions of my fox to give it a little cleaner look. My favorite fact about Arctic foxes that I learned was that they're about the size of a large cat, so they're not big at all. I hope that you've enjoyed this lesson on Arctic foxes. Today we learned a lot about horizon line. We discussed contrast and camouflage. We learned about one of God's amazing creatures. I hope you had a lot of fun. This has been Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.